As the cliche goes, April showers bring May flowers. But usually what comes after is the heat and dryness of summer. Hello again, SA here. And before the hot weather of the holiday shows up, you should indulge in my new short story, The White Cat, a free exclusive on Substack. The links are down below in description. Join Margot Thompson, a beautiful stage actress and recent widow who finds salvation in the form of a white cat during a night of terror. While checking out my oddball thriller, remember that my Glitch series is still available at Amazon and Barnes & Noble. The links are down below in the description. While you'll find my peculiar story about a white pussy entertaining, that doesn't mean I'm out of ideas. I still have more stories coming down the pike, so as long as I don't run into any mishaps, you'll see those stories as well. Now let's get back to the video. Hello again, SA here. In a previous video, I mentioned how MSNBC had become a shill for the Democratic Party, shamelessly so, by the way of James O'Keefe, formerly of Project Veritas. Now he's an independent contractor, but regardless of that. Well, anyway, it's not just MSNBC that's doing it. Nope. Now, you might find this unsurprising, but anyone who remembers the last national election in 2020 knows that there was a lot of scuttlebutt about how that election turned out. And indeed, part of the reason why was because of that Newsweek article that came out a few months after Joe Biden was inaugurated. It was called the Shadow Campaign to Fortify the Election. Now, of course, anyone who's ever watched The Simpsons remembers how sometimes if something goes wrong, and Nelson, that character will sit there and say, ha ha. Well, yeah, the people who wrote that article, that was the political equivalent of Nelson going, ha ha. Well, anyway, James O'Keefe, he created a new video. And that big boy Jerry from the Quartering managed to get a hold of it. And what you'll probably see, you probably would not find surprising. But you have to see it regardless. Okay, are you ready? Here we go.
We all know since 2016 and probably before, companies like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter before Elon, and any other mainstream social media network has been actively tilting the scales in the favor of the Democratic candidate, whether that be through a variety of ways. The hundreds of millions of dollars people like Mark Zuckerberg donate to elections in states in which he doesn't even live, the shadow banning, the unfair rule enforcement, the outright banning of individuals who may share information that goes against the approved narrative. Anything that makes Joe Biden or Kamala Harris look bad is absolutely suppressed. You've probably been thinking, wow, this must have been suppressed. There must be something going on right now. Well, a Facebook engineer, Meta engineer, just dropped the absolute truth bomb and accidentally admitted that they're doing exactly that still in 2024. And we're going to check. If you don't have a VPN yet, make sure you get private internet access. It's the VPN I use on all my devices. Senior Meta engineer reveals anti-Kamala posts are automatically demoted, and also admits shadow banning tactics. This alone, if true, should omit Facebook from being protected by Section 230. Section 230 is meant to protect social media networks who are platforms. When you are automatically deboosting, when you are putting your finger on the scale of the United States election, you are not a platform. You're a publisher, which means you should be open to massive lawsuits for interfering in the democratic process in this country. And some of the quotes are absolutely bonkers. Quote, say your uncle in Ohio said something about Kamala Harris is unfit to be president because she doesn't have a child. That's the kind of ish we automatically demote, reveals Facebook senior software engineer Javan Gaiwali to undercover O'Keefe media journalists. During a hidden camera interview, he confirmed the person would not be notified even, but they would see a decline in their post engagement and impressions, explaining that Meta's integrity team is responsible for controlling content through, quote, civic classifiers, a system that shadow bans posts without even notifying users. I'm going to take a second right now, not to talk about a sponsor, but if you haven't yet, and you're on your phone, okay, download the Rumble app. There is millions and millions of users on Rumble. I have 265,000 people that follow my content on Rumble. My live stream last night has 180,000 views, okay? Rumble is huge. Yes, the app needs improvement, but it's getting better. Download the Rumble app and start following your favorite content creators there, because Rumble won't participate in these shenanigans, but there are absolutely, wherever you're watching this video outside of Rumble, they will. Now, I still post my videos everywhere. Heck, I even created a Blue Sky account to post there. It's about reaching people, but I want people to watch my content where it will not be censored. He also revealed a specialized weapons and tactics team that was created by Meta, stating that there's a SWAT team that's already been set up since April, just to think about scenarios of how the platform could be taken advantage of. When asked if Meta is going to do their due diligence to protect democracy from, quote, disinformation, Gaiwali ensured that it's all going to be demoted 100%. And just so you know, when they say protect democracy, they mean promote Kamala Harris. They mean promote Joe Biden. They meant promote Hillary Clinton. This is not a tinfoil hat theory. This has been proven on Capitol Hill through legal testimony. There is no question about the fact that the government and Facebook have worked hand in hand to promote Democrats while demoting people like Donald Trump and probably every Republican across the board. When asked, you guys have the ability to influence the outcome of the election, he said yes, admitting Meta's power to sway political outcomes. When asked if Mark Zuckerberg, co-founder and CEO of Meta, supports Meta's political influence and agenda to help the Democratic Party, he answered yes, 100%. Now, if you're not following James O'Keefe, why? Oh, I'm in a different Twitter account right now because I've got to look at some tweets from a blocked account. But if you're not following James O'Keefe, make sure you do it. Listen to some of this stuff.
Say your uncle in Ohio said something about Kamala.
I'm just proving he said what he said.
Harris is isn't unfit to be a president because he doesn't have a child. Okay. That kind of shit is automatically demoted.
Me?
Whoops. Automatically demoted. Automatically demoted.
Wally, a senior software engineer at Meta.
Are they doing a good job protecting our democracy? Because I can see these right-wing groups setting up Instagram accounts or Facebook accounts for that matter, right?
What she's doing expertly is letting him know that she is a Kamala Harris supporter, that she believes the mainstream rhetoric that suppressing Republican or conservative points of view is actually the definition of protecting democracy.
And just start posting disinformation, be like,
Well,
oh, like
so
Harris is like blah, blah, blah.
That's all going to be demoted 100%. The civic classifier is strong.
The senior software engineer also goes on to say that, quote, the person would not be notified, unquote, if they were demoted because of their anti-Kamala Harris post on Meta, and red-listed, that's a new term we just learned, red-listed, meaning, according to Collins Dictionary, things that are not permitted.
So if you are promoting anti-Kamala Harris, if you post anything anti-Kamala Harris on Facebook, your account will be shadow banned, essentially. Red listed is a different term. They changed the term from shadow banned to deboosted to, right of use but not right of reach, or whatever X tried to say.
Would the person who posted that would he be notified that?
The person would not be notified, but there's these things that whether you collect.
So you won't be notified at all. They're just going to shadow ban your account.
Okay, what does that mean?
That means that if anything is related to political content, it's automatically not shown.
We wanted to dive deeper into Meta's demotion of civic content, whatever that means, on their platform. The senior Meta software engineer Jiva states to our OMG American Swiper that they would, quote, automatically demote, unquote, content that might be critical of Kamala Harris.
Unconnected stuff is not going to show up in your feed. Like ads, I think can show up, and they probably have a whole different process of vetting ads.
Okay.
But unconnected content, say your uncle in Ohio said something about Kamala Harris isn't unfit to be a president because he doesn't have a child.
Okay.
That kind of shit is automatically demoted.
Now, if you remember back in 2019, we did a story about a Facebook insider that showed us internal practices being played out at Facebook regarding what they called deboosting as well, what was previously considered a conspiracy theory, now documented by this Facebook whistleblower that came out with us in 2019.
Every time I would see this deboost live stream kind of code on there.
And what does it mean when these documents say action deboost live distribution? What does the term deboost mean?
When I see reduce live distribution, it means preventing the distribution of this live feed.
And just 2 years after.
By the way, Donald Trump is going to need every vote. I've come up with an idea. Tailgates for Trump cookbook. 40 delicious, hilarious recipes like Nancy Pelosi's gin-soaked drizzle cake and many, many more. Get the cookbook. There's a couple of boxes of these left. It will ship on Monday. It's a hilarious conversation piece, a great gift for the not just a Trump supporter, but the Republican in your family, or anyone who hates Democrats, really. And have a party. Put this thing out, cook some recipes from it, and then register people to vote, and then go and vote with them. Make voting fun again. That's what Tailgates for Trump is all about. Get your cookbook. There's only a few left. Domestic only, by the way. Please. Shipping to international is too darn expensive.
After that, we got our hands on an insider tape that revealed Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg and a top executive were punishing truth seekers.
And I've been clear that we have a number of efforts to find people and we terminate people and pursue the recourse that we have when we identify them. And in this case, we did find them.
Now in 2024, Jeevan from Meta, previously Facebook, mentioning continued practices of demoting content just a few weeks before the presidential election. The senior software engineer also goes on to say that, quote, the person would not be notified, unquote, if they were demoted because of their anti-Kamala Harris post on Meta.
They're not notified because they don't want somebody in the news to cover it.
I'm going to do it anyway. What is your company doing to prevent that from happening?
God. Well, it's
how are you guys going to fight that?
Well, I mean, there is a SWAT team that's already set up since I think April to just do think about all the scenarios of how the platform could be abused.
The senior software engineer at Meta is asked about right-wing Meta accounts posting misinformation about Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
And he states that these posts are, quote, all going to be demoted 100%. The civic classifier is strong, unquote.
Are they doing a good job protecting our democracy? Because I can see these like right-wing groups like setting up Instagram accounts or Facebook accounts for that matter, right? And just start posting disinformation, be like, Harris is like blah blah blah.
That's all going to be demoted 100%. The civic classifier is strong.
Just last week, we saw former 2016 Democratic nominee Hillary Clinton state that if Meta doesn't moderate and monitor users' content, then, quote, we lose total control.
Okay, you saw that. Now, of course, like I said, some of you who are paying attention probably say, oh, so what? Oh, Zuckerberg's up to his old tricks again. Yep, no joke. However, what Jennifer DeCory didn't show you was a previous video where Zuckerberg or Zuckerberg was being interviewed by I don't know who, and they were talking about Donald Trump. And this was a video from like 1 or 2 months ago. And I remember the video, I saw it myself. And Zuckerberg said that when Trump got shot and he stood up with blood on his face and was sitting there shouting, fight, 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 Zuckerberg said that was the most badass thing he ever saw in his life. And I'm thinking, since some of this, and I'm considering, someone who probably has to check his Fruit of the Looms to see if he still has a pair every morning when he wakes up, well, I probably would see that as a badass action. But hey, it wasn't just Zuckerberg. Even 50 Cent, someone who actually knows something about being shot, he said the same thing. And I'm thinking, it takes one to know one. Someone who's been shot, that is. But the thing is, when you reconcile James O'Keefe's video with what Zuckerberg said within the last couple of months, then you say, what's going on there over at Facebook? Are those people schizophrenic? Maybe. But then again, maybe not. Because anyone who's ever gambled knows that sometimes it helps to hedge your bets. Because I know, for example, over there at Santa Anita, if you go up there and put money on the ponies, and you look at the various horses, and you say, not sure which one to bet on, so you basically put a little money on each horse. That way, at least you know one of the horses will win. Now, of course, some of you say, but you might win on one horse, but then you lose on the other 5. And I'm thinking, yeah. And of course, you would say, but at least you won't lose. And indeed, when it comes to politics, people have done that for a while. Indeed, I remember back in the 20th century where some people came out with these weird lists of these corporations and other institutions where they would basically show their contributions to a political party, and in some cases it was like lopsided, like 80-20 in one way or the other, and then in other cases you would see that was almost like dead even, like more like a 40-60 kind of split. And yet you would see that in these cases, you would see that these institutions, whether it be a Fortune 5000 company or some kind of union, like say the Teamsters, they were basically putting money in the pots of both parties, Democrats, Republicans. Why is that? Because they were basically hedging their bets, saying, oh, what if we put our money in one pot and the other people win? We're going to be on the outs, and vice versa. And therefore, these institutions say, okay, let's just put money in both pots. That way, regardless of who wins, at least we won't lose. Because, for example, look what happened back during the 2016 election. when the people in Kiev under Poroshenko, they went all in on Hillary Clinton. No joke. Because Politico, as well as I think the Daily Mail, had wrote that article after the election. How supposedly the damn people in Ukraine, and believe me, you say, what the hell are they doing messing with our elections? Yeah, I know, precisely. Especially when you consider all that rigmarole complaining about all the dreaded Ruskies sticking their fingers in our elections. Yeah, well, guess what? It wasn't just the Ruskies, it was also the Ukrainians, okay? And the Chinese, too. Can't forget those people. But anyway, the way the article said was that after Trump won, the damn people in Ukraine basically started sounding like Mr. Bill from the original SNL, where they said, "Oh no," and then they tried to clean up what they did and try to kiss and make up with Trump. And I'm thinking, yeah, well, it is what it is. You bet on the wrong horse, and your horse came in second. So there you go. Now, as far as what Zuckerberg is doing, I'm thinking that Zuckerberg, and it's not just me saying this, other people said it too, we could be seeing basically a form of schizophrenia in the sense that you have people inside of his operation who clearly are rooting for the Democrats. Okay. But then you have the boss, Zuckerberg. He clearly must think, okay, if I throw all in on the Democrats, and because remember, it originally was Biden, but now it's Harris, and if the Democrats lose, hey, I'm on the outs. And guess what? It's not just him. Other people are probably making the same judgment call. And therefore, I think what's going on with Zuckerberg is that, yeah, he's putting a little bit of money in the Democrat pot, and he's putting a little bit in the Republican pot. That way, he's hedging his bets, just in case Trump wins or Trump loses, or Harris wins or Harris loses. And I have to admit, that's smart. That's smart. Because you don't want to do what Elon Musk is doing. And you say, what's Elon Musk doing? Well, if you've been paying attention, he's doing a lot of things on the side. And I'm not just talking about showing up at one of Trump's rallies. I think if you've seen videos of that, where he was running around, jumping up and down like a loon. Yeah. Because he did a recent interview, I think it was with Tucker Carlson, where he basically said that if Harris wins, Elon Musk is going to be in a whole lot of deep doo-doo, okay? Because Elon was being kind of hyperbolic, claiming that he might end up in jail. And I'm thinking, I don't know about that. But he'll probably likely be facing a whole bunch of pressure from the Justice Department to regulate, Twitter, aka X. And oh my God, don't get me started with SpaceX, because he already has a lawsuit with the federal government right now over SpaceX, which I'm not going to get into. But yeah, he might be under a whole lot of pressure if old Cackles ends up in the White House. And that's because Elon, unlike Zuckerberg, he's all in on the Republican side. And I'm thinking, yeah. And if Trump loses, he's going to feel pretty butthurt the day after. Sort of like those Ukrainians were when Hillary lost. So should we be irked over what Zuckerberg is doing? Well, depends on how you feel about him. Now, some of you probably saying, oh, he's a scuzzy type anyway, who cares? And other people probably feel, oh, he's just doing the same thing he's always been doing. Is he? Because remember, the shadow campaign from 2020, Zuckerberg, was all in on the Democrat side. And of course, lucky for him, the Democrats won. But then he got basically exposed thanks to that damn Newsweek article about the shadow campaign. and multiple people, and I mean multiple people, whether it be Tim, Jennifer the Quartering, oh my God, that guy, was it Sebastian Gorka, that big dude, and others, they all said the same thing. If Newsweek had never written that article, people, no, particularly on the Republican side, to this day would be scratching their heads wondering how it was that Trump lost. See what I mean? So does this mean that what's going on over there at Facebook is basically shadow campaign 2.0? Maybe. Maybe not. We just have to wait how the election turns out. And more importantly, if Newsweek writes another article, say in the spring of 2025, talking about another shadow campaign. Well, that's all I gotta say about old Zuckerberg and basically talking out of both sides of his ass cheeks. And that's my opinion.